Welcome to the world of stand-up.
Being poor.
Easy.
Done. Fucking hack the system, bitch.
Walk. Yeah, right. Yeah, the Matrix has been now. Walk barefoot down the streets of San Francisco, or walk barefoot on coals.
Where in San Francisco?
I know. See, that's just. I mean, you can go deeper into it, but I'm just. These are kind of things. There was like all five of them.
Okay.
All five of them were absolutely, because it catches you off guard. You know, it just catches you. Oh, the other one was, what's the one thing in life you regret? I mean, that stops you in your tracks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, like legit. I was sitting there and I'm like, man, that's kind of crazy. What do I regret? You know, if you regret too much, then you wouldn't be where you're at now.
Well, I've never subscribed to the idea that there's no regrets. It seems like something that's cliche to say, I don't regret anything, man. I live my life. Like, shut the fuck up, man. Like, you have shit where you're like, ugh, I wish I would have done
that one night stand at the tequila bar. It was like, ooh.
Yeah, the donkey show. Like,
it was fun, but I kind of regret that a little bit.
Yeah,
Don't want to tell your kids about that.
It fit bigger than I thought it would, but it was.
Yeah.
That's intense though. So that was a show you were on. That was just 5 questions. That was the whole.
Well, yeah, it was kind of like this. You know, what are you doing? You know, how'd you get to where you're going? What's going on? But it was more on the political side.
Okay.
Here's the other one. You could take over. You have control over one media outlet like Google, Twitter, NBC, CBS, whatever. You take it over. Which one would you do?
Google, 100%. That's the biggest one. Yeah. That's superhero level access.
Yeah, that's Elon Musk shit right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, I love Elon. He's
crazy.
Become like one of my favorite people to watch just because he's, on paper anyway, the richest man in the world. Mm-hmm. There's been speak that, like, you know, these Saudi sheiks and stuff, they don't report
anything.
They're trillionaires with all the money they have. So on paper, and he's very intelligent, and he's gone at the system, which I kind of like. He's taken the, legacy media kind of, and
he's on the spectrum there. You can
tell.
Well,
you can tell he's got a little bit of
totally on the spectrum.
I mean, nobody names your kid the name of an algorithm or whatever the fuck it was, and you're not a little odd, you know?
Yeah, right. But if you see his mannerisms and everything, it would be kind of neat to be in his brain, because when you watch him in an interview, he really processes before he answers.
Yeah, he pauses. It's almost like watching Kanye West. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
Kanye does that. He'll sit and he'll pause and he'll look. He'll think, and then he'll answer. And I'm like, that is so thoughtful. Like, he truly is giving you a real answer in that moment. Joe Rogan said about Elon that it seems like when you're talking to him, Joe says, I've had this realization where it's like, oh, this guy's smarter than everyone. We're fucking chimps over here, like, and this guy, he's just on another planet. He's so good, you know. So anyway, Scott Travis, ladies and gentlemen, artist extraordinaire, friend of mine. Thank you for the late notice to come on the show.
Anytime.
I've been going through like all these extraordinary people that I have in my circle. I'm like, I got to get them on the show. You were obviously on the list.
That's a big word, extraordinary.
Well, it's extraordinary. So like, you're extra ordinary. So you're ordinary, but you're extraordinary.
Okay.
Yeah, that fits. I mean, look at the predator hair going on here, dude. It's all
the beast monster. Yeah, why not?
I gotta say, dude, when you did that to your hair, I was a little bit bent because you have fucking fantastic hair as a gentleman, and I'm like,
well, thank you.
I would kill for the fucking gray wavy locks that Scott has.
And the kick on it is I used to shave my head just like yours, like daily.
See, that's just dirt in the wound, is what that is, bro.
Yeah, extraordinary.
You're being extra right now, Scott. Extraordinary. That's cool, man. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
You know, from the first time that I met you, I was always intrigued by your journey because, I mean, in your past, you were like a pool guy. Like, you did stuff out of Las Vegas where you built pools, and it was a high-end thing, luxury homes, but you always had this kick inside of you, to be an artist and to paint. Mm-hmm. And I love that you did that. Because that's not an easy transition to go from being like a legitimate entrepreneur with a business and you have a product and service that you're selling and you're in one model. And then to take that into a different space, and now the new product or service is a deeply intimate creation that you've made, and you have to put it in the marketplace now and sell it and be fine with criticism and accolade and all that, you know?
It's interesting because it didn't follow that quite that journey. You know, it wasn't where I got out of. So yeah, I built and serviced swimming pools for 20. I always forget, like 24 years, 25 years in California and in Vegas. And I picked up art as a side note because it was just, my head was just so fucked up. Like, you know, you're just busy, you're keeping up with the country club house, keeping up with the Escalades, golfing 3 times, you know, I mean, like legitimately living the fucking Gucci life in Vegas, which I did. I $1 million consistently year after year after year. I just was going and you get caught up in that race, and then the ego sets in. I'm the best pool guy. I can make the most. I can charge whatever I want. Because I did. I just had that mindset of doing that. And then we ran into an issue with, you know, with family, you know, and family will stop you right in your tracks, you know.
Well, yeah, won't they?
Yeah. So my oldest one at 15, he was a heroin addict, and didn't know how to fucking deal with that. You know, I did not know how to didn't know how to process it. And for me, we have 3 kids, and like I say, country club house, and I'm coming home thinking you're doing all the right things, you know, all the stuff, and then you find out one of your kids is in trouble and you can't do a thing. You know, so I kept it from the family because I knew about it, so I was sheltering.
Did your wife know?
No.
And didn't know about your 15-year-old being a heroin addict? Wow.
No, not at all. Yeah, it's
interesting.
interesting.
Knowing that you two now,
Yeah.
that blows my mind.
Yeah. So it shows, you know us now. So it shows how, because she had her own company too. I mean, she was running a multi-million-dollar company herself. That was her company. My company was separate from her company. We didn't work for other people. We were CEO of our own companies,
Right.
and we came together. So I knew that this would put her in a tailspin, kind of going down the road, knowing how much, you know, responsibility and stuff she has to her employees and everything else. And I didn't want her to stop. You know, it wasn't a selfish thing for me, you know, keep bringing the money in. I just didn't want her to go down a rabbit hole that I've got enough pressure on me. I can try and save one, but if I'm helping my wife and trying to save this and trying to this, so I was just trying to just internalize it and you know, go at it the way I knew how to do it. And so, I mean, that kind of blew up in my face, obviously, but keeping it. And then I was building a pool for the Attorney General of Las Vegas. And I went to go collect a final check from him, and he brings me to his house, and it's just, I mean, all this art was around. I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. You know, we collected art glass. We were the big, back in eBay when you'd go collect and sell hawk shit like people are doing right now, you know?
Yeah.
So I got real familiar with art glass and art. And so I went into his house, and I was just mesmerized by all his art. And I'm like, man, where did you get this? I want a piece. And he goes, I do it. I'm like, wait a minute, you're the Attorney General and you've got this whacked out art that's all around. I mean, it was fucking crazy. It was awesome. And he goes, yeah, come up to my studio. And I went up upstairs, and this whole top stairs was just like shit everywhere. I'm like, my God, this looks so comfortable. I'm like, that's weird. All this chaos looks comfortable when I'm going through all this shit in my head, you know? And so I took that check, I cashed it at the bank. This is God's honest truth. I went to the bank, cashed the check, took all that money, and went to not a hobby store, but like a paint shop, like
Sure.
an arts and crafts
supply,
place,
yeah.
right? Spent every last dime. Didn't know what the fuck I was buying. I just bought paints, paintbrushes, canvases, easels. I bought everything. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like going. He goes. The only reason. He goes. This is the only thing that keeps the monkeys calm in my brain. If I can go up and paint. I'm like, man. That's what I need. I need an outlet. You know, you need an outlet. You think golf, and you think you're hanging out with your friends, drinking beers with the guys, but I just need to get. You know, you need that. I needed that special time to myself to just process. You know, because I was like I said, I'm keeping it from my family. I'm not letting anybody know because, number one, it was an ego thing for me because now I feel like I've failed everybody. You know, it's like, wow, I've gone to the peak. You know, everyone is taken care of, and now all of a sudden I've got this kid that's whacked out on heroin at 15 years old, and I can't do a fucking thing. You know, so I started painting. I mean, I just started painting, went crazy. And when things were going bad, I would just go in the studio and just paint. We'd have paintings all over the walls, and you'd come over to my house and you'd go, oh, that's really like that. So I'd take it off the wall and hand it to you. My wife was like, why are you giving all this
I wish I knew that guy.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that guy was a cool guy. If you have some of the earlier stuff, be careful. Yeah, it's worth a little bit. So then she started saying, you know, I need you to, you can't give this stuff away. I'm like, once I get it on canvas, at that point in my life, once I got it on canvas, my emotions and everything were done. It's like I'm pissed off, I'm angry, I'm everything else. So I throw it on canvas and then it's on the wall. You can do whatever you want with it. I can basically, it was like a doodle pad.
So you feel a separation between it's no longer your art; it's a piece of art at that point. It's just there.
It's still me, but it's a reminder of a place where I don't want to be, or it's a reminder of a particular thing that was. When I always say the monkeys, I keep the monkeys at bay, and that's just the shit that goes on in your head. You know what I mean? So once I put it on a piece of on a canvas, then I would just kind of let it go. You know. And then if you liked it, it's the wackiest thing. It's like, I'm in a really shit mood and I'm painting this thing. It's just like, I look at it, I'm like, I love this thing, but my head is in a real shitty place, and you come in and you go, oh my God, that's so beautiful. I see lilies. And I'm like, bitch, what the fuck are you looking at? Because my head was not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so that's kind of the process of what I did. And then Ann, obviously I saw people were liking it, and Ann made me promise to do an art festival, just like an art in the park thing. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I took it out there. I sold 11 pieces and got 3 commissions from that. And then all of a sudden my business brain turned on. I'm like, there could be money in this.
Yeah.
And that's what I do now.
Look at you
have
now.
fun.
You even have a course where you
Jeez.
teach other people how to turn their art into something that's financially stable, right?
Yeah, I try and help young artists. I really do. It's called Passion to Profit. And there's right brain and left brain. I mean, there's a business side, and then there's an art, a creative side to it. And I've just been blessed where I've got both in this sense. And I'm glad that I got the business side first, because again, like I said, it was like this light bulb that went off in my head. Once I saw there was a need for it and there's monetary value in it, I'm like, how can I make this a quote unquote business or make money from it? And that's where it was. So I take these creative younger people or older people. I take them because they don't think about the value of it. Artists are kind of soft and tender. I mean, realistically, I don't want to be hurt. I don't, what if you don't like it? You're going to hurt my feelings and everything else. Like, no, you can accept that. You live through that. It's okay.
Right.
You just have to keep fighting through it. You know what I mean? I tell all of them, it's like, 50% of people are going to like it, 50% are going to hate it, and 10% don't give a shit. And I would rather people that don't like it share it, because again, if you like your dinner, you're not going to leave a Yelp review. If you hate it, you're going to blast that place. So if you don't like my stuff, you're going to blast it to everyone. And you know what? Out of all the people you tell, there's probably going to be a couple of people that are going to like it. And that's totally cool.
That's fair, yeah.
God, I sound pretty smart right now, don't I?
Well, yeah. Well, you're bringing up something that's been interesting to me from like when you back away from the elephant a little bit. Mm-hmm. And the idea of monetizing art, whatever the pursuit is, as a comedian myself, I've recognized that is one of the missing pieces in comedy, is that most comedians elevate the need to be funny over the need to understand how to make money. Mm-hmm. They oftentimes even demonize the idea of wanting to learn how to make money while learning how to be funnier. Mm-hmm. And, truth be told, that's where I've ruffled feathers, is because I've come at this like, okay, so I understand the craft and I'm looking to maximize my capacity in that, to be funnier, to be a better joke teller, to be better on stage, all those. But I want to put myself in a position to where I can make money doing it, because if I make money doing comedy, that means that I have people willing to pay me for the laughs that I'm providing for them. And that, to me, when you look, comedy is very top heavy. The guys that are at the very, very top, they make a ton of money, and it's because they understand that. And a lot of younger comedians, they don't connect those two dots, that the reason why the Bill Burrs and the Dave Chappelles and the Joe Rogans are where they are is, yes, because they're funny, but also because they're savvy.
Exactly.
And being savvy, you can learn. Mm-hmm. And so hearing that you've got, this passion to profits thing, and I've watched, I've watched you with my daughter, like really impress upon her certain things, and she hasn't even really come in pain with you yet. Right. Just talking with her, because she's a young artist and she's, flailed and floundered in that whole, whether she's good or not, and has no context and everything. But it's really kind of interesting.
Well, if you think about it too, like in the art space, it just like in comedy, it's top heavy. Yeah. There's a lot of people that are making a lot of money in the art space. But I think that's changed because of NFTs and all the other stuff. But the problem with that is now you have an onslaught of artists that are willing to do anything just to get their stuff out there. So they're going to value themselves super low, so they don't really care. Same thing. I just want to be funny, so see me. It doesn't matter about the money. It's just I just want to be seen. Right. Well, that's what's happening, I believe, a lot of times in that. But I always tell them too, it's like no one's going to value you more than you value yourself. And I know it's a quote by somebody, and I don't know who said it, but they're not going to. So if you come in as a $100,000 comedian, or I come in as a $100,000 artist, that's what I'm portraying. I mean, that's what it is. You know, I mean, I've done a lot of things to get that quote unquote image or portray that, but I also have to back it up, just like you do. Right. You can portray all the crap you want as a comedian, but you got to be fucking funny.
If I stink it up,
yeah, it doesn't matter. Hurry, yeah. Exactly. If all of a sudden nobody buys my art, well, now the value of it's gone down. You know what I mean? So it's that kind of that juggling, and it's just being in the right headspace for it.
Did you ever see that documentary, Exit Through the Gift Shop?
Yep.
What do you think of Mr. Brainwash? Because he kind of co-opted a lot of stuff. Like when you watch how he made his art, it was kind of him directing traffic and other people were making it. And I don't know if I'm okay with that. Because I guess having it so blatantly in my face, for anybody that hasn't seen it, you should go check it out. It's a documentary. It's called Exit Through the Gift Shop. Mm-hmm. It's about, the story of it is basically this guy whose nickname is Mr. Brainwash. He knew Banksy.
Right.
And he had been filming all of this footage about his own sort of pursuits in art, following around street artists, watching graffiti guys, doing the whole thing. And he gave the footage to, he edited the film so that it could be this documentary, and he gave it to Banksy, and Banksy's like, this is dog shit, dude. Mm-hmm. Give me the footage. I'm going to redo it.
Right.
And what was redone was the new documentary, Exit Through the Gift Shop. But it showed how, it didn't show any of Banksy's art, because I've been kind of curious on how he actually does his stuff. But basically with Mr. Brainwash, it seemed like he would just tell other people what to do.
Yeah, he would set up, and it's been a while since I've seen it, but he set up galleries, and then he started doing his own. And he would kind of pass it off as, not say it's Banksy. And again, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I don't want to get a bunch of hate. You didn't see it. Right. But it was kind of implied that he was the artist.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, but he was riding on everybody.
He was more of a curator than anything.
Yeah, he was riding on everybody is what he was doing. So he was everyone's non-manager, if that makes any sense.
Here's their nuts. Here's him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's balls deep into it. Yeah.
Very interesting show, though, because I liked, there's this sort of, I don't know, that movie portrayed it really, or the documentary portrayed it really well. There was this sort of like rebellious spirit in their art. Oh. Because a lot of it was on like buildings and things where it was like considered defiling what they were doing, but it was fucking cool shit they were doing. You know? Right.
They're going outside the limits. I mean, it's for that point.
Do you ever do stencil stuff like they do, like the spray paint thing where they would do the multi-layer stuff of stencil?
Yeah, I used to stencil when I would send out a piece of art, I would stencil the package.
Oh, nice. Okay.
With Liberty on it. But if you want to see a good one, have you ever heard of Ai Weiwei?
No.
AIWAII. I don't know his last name. It's Ai Weiwei.
Okay.
So he's a Chinese. He's a Chinese artist. And he's just got the middle finger at the government, and he just is awesome. Yeah,
so he's dead now.
No. They took him. They beat the shit out of him and put him in jail. But
you say he was Chinese?
I'm pretty sure he's Chinese. Now, you know, you can get in trouble if you're saying it's Chinese or Japanese. I'm not quite sure, but that's I think Chinese. Yeah, okay. So he's Chinese. But yeah, he's known for just like in front of Tiananmen Square and all in front of the government and flipping off and but he does a lot of good stuff. Does a lot of good stuff for the kids, because you watch that one, because there's a big backstory to it, because he really likes to help the kids, and he does backpacks. He does all kinds of not weird art, but very interesting art. He's not a painter, but he's more of a visual artist, which is really cool.
Okay.
Ai Weiwei.
Again, there's a certain sort of spirit about the creative. Mm-hmm. The individual that is a creative, whether they play music, whether they tell jokes, whether they paint, whether they write, there's a similar shade in there.
Yeah.
You can kind of spot it. Like I can notice that, like when I first met you, I'm like, I get this guy on a certain level. I'm like, I get what he's about, you know? Because I could see it. I could see that there was like this inherent sort of, like making money isn't enough.
Yeah.
There's expression. Like expression is required.
You know, and it's interesting, because I think that's over the last 2 years, that's what I've grown more to. It's like now I'm coming into my expression side. I knew how to make the money. I knew I was, you know, I did a post almost about 18, I don't know, maybe a year ago, 8 months ago. And it was on a photo shoot, and it was just me looking off into the distance. I've said this a couple of times, and then I did a tag on it. I said, I'm ready for more. I think once you are ready for more and you actually put it out there and you want more, it's a brain switch.
Yeah. Well, deciding that you want more and then deciding that you're ready for more are two different things.
Right.
I've noticed that in my life. Like you and I have spoken about this at dinner and stuff over the course of the last year. You know, my wife and I had invested a lot of resource into this upgrade mental programming deal.
Mm-hmm.
For the listeners and viewers of the show, Brady Edwards is the video guy for that. We've talked a lot about upgrade on the show, but one of the things that we had to do right out the gate was make lists of the material items that we wanted to enjoy and experiences that we wanted to have that were like dreams, like true, and putting ourselves in the position of like, okay, so if I put on there I wanted a white Ferrari. I put on there I wanted a white G-Wagon with red interior. Like everything that has been on that list has been like kind of pulled to me in different ways. But there was a dynamic shift that happened. I've had, like I put on there, this is crazy. I'll tell you this story because it involves one of our mutual friends. So I put on that the list that I wanted to fly private to a world-class sporting event and have VIP access at the sporting event with friends of mine and people that I adored. Okay.
Yeah.
Within a fucking week of me writing that on that list, I get a call from our friend Sean.
Mm-hmm.
He's racing in Indianapolis, asks me to
Iconic.
fly out to Indianapolis Motor Speedway with him for his practice day. I have full access to the paddock. I'm walking around with my VIP tag. I mean, at the end of the race day, I got a picture of me kissing the bricks.
I remember seeing that
at Indianapolis. And I'm like, this shit is the fucking Matrix, man. Like,
it is.
I chose it, I wrote it, and it showed up. And I wasn't attached to the container. That was something, because when I originally put that out there, I was like, I wasn't thinking about motorsports. I was like NBA Finals, Super Bowl, whatever.
Sure.
And then motorsports showed up. I'm like, this is the same thing, dude. If anything, there's so much more heritage in motorsport than there is in basketball or any of that other stuff. So anyway, coming to that point, it's like you have to choose what you want and then being allowed to receive it. Because I'll tell you this. Our buddy Sean sometimes has issues communicating effectively and letting you know what time things are, when things are going, and he's really kind of scallywampus that way. And so we had, like, I didn't know if I was going to be going. Like, he had told me the night before he was going to let me know, and then he waited till like 5 p.m. the next night, and I hadn't changed any of my schedule or anything like that. And I had a moment where like, oh, well, I don't know.
Welcome to Sean's world.
Right, no kidding. But it was more like welcome to this. It was the universe being like, you want it?
Right.
So I'm like, yes, and I made all the swift changes to be able to go do it, and it was one of the best memories of my life, and I'm super grateful for Sean for inviting me on that. It also was a really cool example too, because, and I'll tell this story, when we were there, so we flew private from the FBO in Provo to Indianapolis, and the pilot was just going to hang out with us for the day. He's this really great guy. His name's CJ. I got to get CJ on the show, man. He's awesome. Was he the pilot when you flew? CJ Glover's his name. Anyway,
does he fly for someone else?
Yeah, he flies. Yeah. He flies for the guy that Sean has with the plane. Okay, so he's
big tall guy.
Yeah, big tall guy,
super guy. This guy's awesome,
in shape, in his 30s. So he's hanging out with us the whole day, and him and I are just chummy. We're getting along great. We're having a good time, and he's just enamored with what he's seeing because
right.
Whenever you're around that high level motorsport stuff, it's fucking cool, dude. It's so cool. And so he gets a call. We're supposed to. The stuff was getting over about 4 o'clock. We were supposed to be on the plane by 5 to be home to Salt Lake by 7, right? The very next day, Sean had what's called a Lion's Den fly-in. He has this coaching group that's got 3,100 plus people in it. And once a month, they have these special things where I think up to 50 is all.
Yeah.
People can come to the headquarters in Salt Lake, have a day of training, network, be taught by Sean and some of the other important people in the group. And it's a really, really cool experience. Well, Sean had to be back in town on Thursday because he had 50 people flying in from all over the country to be there for this event that he'd had. We get a call from the pilot gets a call from the FBO saying, dude, your plane is leaking. Mm-hmm. So he's like, oh shit. So he takes a car back to the airport, checks it out. There was a fuel line that had broke, and there was a part of the plane that was just soaked. Now, When you're driving a car, you can limp along with repairs. You know, you don't fucking do that in a plane. Like we're grounded right then, right? So he's Sean is, and this guy's trying to get with the some people to get a mechanic out there to fix it. We're trying to figure out if there's a way to make it so it's safe and everything. And meanwhile, Sean's like, holy shit, I got to be back in town tomorrow. So we're looking for commercial flights to get out of town. We're trying to get home. Nothing. Well, it came down. It ended up costing him $25,000. Like there was a private plane that he was able to charter that was in Detroit that had to fly to Indianapolis. It took 4 hours to get from Detroit to Indianapolis and then fly us home to Salt Lake. We weren't on that plane until 11 o'clock. We got home to Salt Lake 2 a.m. We have a thing at 9 a.m. for that. And I watched that guy put his money where his mouth is for keeping his word. And so not only did I get this really cool experience of being VIP at one of the coolest and most, heritage-filled raceways in the world, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, right. I got to watch somebody like keep his word and not try to finagle out of anything. He just did what he said and said what he did.
It's amazing.
And it was a beautiful thing.
That was his first podium too.
Yeah. No.
Third place.
Was it?
Yeah, because I did a picture for him.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a piece for him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. That one that's in his office. That was a really cool. That was a cool thing. But back to the whole thing as far as like, allowing yourself to receive. That is such a mind fuck for a lot of people. They don't know how to receive.
It's interesting because when we were driving into Salt Lake, so September will be 2 years we've been here. And as we're driving in, I spotted this Porsche dealership alongside the road. And the next time I was with Ann, I was driving by it again. I said, that's where I'm going to buy my Porsche. And at that time I had no, I wanted it, but like you say, your intention and if you're ready for it, and she goes, okay, no problem. It's fine. Well, I bought my Porsche at that dealership when I was ready to buy one. It was like allowing myself to do it. And actually I was on stage at Lions Den. Did you go to Lions Den Live?
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you hear me talking?
I didn't see your talk. No,
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. That's right. You had something to do. So
I was there in the morning on day one and in the afternoon on day two.
I spoke on day two.
I missed your. Oh. I would have, of course.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Yeah. But like my big thing is like a lot of things that have changed is I've eliminated the comma but in my life. And what I mean is like I'm a plumber, comma but I want to be an artist. I'm a doctor, comma but I want to go race cars. It's like eliminate that. Stop being a fucking doctor and go race cars. Stop doing this and do what you want to do. There's
or be a doctor that races cars.
Oh yeah, I mean, but whatever your but is, it's like well, I can't do it. But it's like I've just eliminated a lot of that shit. So I got off stage, and I was always doing the I'm gonna get my car. I can go buy one. It's no big deal. I would always put that comma, but maybe we should just wait a little. It's like fuck all that. It's like why am I telling these people? I want to be 100% authentic. It's like I've been just putting this excuse in front of it, and that's what it is. Comma but is your excuse.
What's a lack of belief? It's an out.
That's better, an out. And so I'm just like legitimately, I got off stage and it kind of hit me, and I was just like, fuck this. I'm kind of bullshitting myself. I'm like, this is not right, because I don't want it to be that way. I want it to be. If I'm in a bad mood, you'll know I'm in a bad mood. If I'm in a good mood, I just want to be 100% me because I'm not living for you. I don't give a shit. If I hurt your feelings, that's your feelings. That's not mine. And I'm not. And if I make you feel good, that's not me making you feel good. You just feel good because you're around me. That's all. I don't. I'm not going to change how you feel. You know what I mean? I just don't feel that way. I don't think that you can make me happy. I have to make myself happy.
Well, that's one of the things that is a big lie that I think is the source of a lot of the nonsense that we see in our culture right now. The idea that my behavior in some way dictates your response. That I need to quell my language or my actions in order to not offend you. Mm-hmm. That's fucking backwards, dude. And if you look at all of the stuff with microaggressions and I'm triggered and we need safe spaces, and it's a sign of a lack of emotional accountability like we've never seen. It's not my job to make you feel anything. Nope. If you feel unsafe, for an example, I didn't cause you to feel unsafe. Right. You chose on a certain level to feel that. If I cause you to feel pissed off or happy, like it's the whole spectrum. Now, here's where, in knowing another thing about you that we haven't talked about, you have a podcast with your wife that's called Thou Shalt Not Kill. Correct. A podcast about marriage. I have front row seat to the show, I have to say, which is kind of fun. And it's a really well done show. But the point of this is that in relationship, though, it's not, I mean, that's still technically true, that it's not my job to make her happy and it's not her job to make me happy. But there is a reality that we have to understand, and that is that we have an influence. That I have an influence on how easy I can make the choice for my wife to be happy or not. And she has an influence over how easy it is for me. And so if I'm responsible with that influence and I listen to her and I choose to want to help her be happier, I still, at a certain point, it's still up to her.
But the dynamic in that is different, though. If you're married, in my opinion, if you're married, you know what's going to make your wife happy and what's
Sure.
going to make you mad. She knows what's going to piss you off. You know what your triggers are.
Right.
I mean, so in that sense, yes, I can make my wife happier. I can make my wife madder, but I can fuel it or I can quell it.
Right.
That's the only. I think the only control I have over that is, do I want to dial it up or dial it down?
Right.
That's it.
Well,
But strangers, I could give two shits about.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's the funny thing, and is that when we hear the encouragement or the admonition to, not give a fuck what people think, let's be real. We don't give a shit what most people think.
Right.
It's a few people.
Right.
Maybe on one hand.
Very few.
But those people hold such weight that they modify people's behavior sometimes and what they say and everything. It's like, you look at social media, some people hold back on saying whether their political views or the things they have relative to stuff that's going on in our culture, or whatever, they hold it back because they don't want to get the hate. It's like, the hate from who?
Well, the kick on it is I've experienced this. So I did a T-shirt and when Trump was running, and it had huge, YUGGE. You've seen it because he always says huge, and then it has a picture of a rooster, a cock, and it's got like the flip, so it's Trump. Yeah. So it says huge cock basically on it. So the interesting thing about it is the conservative Republicans or whatever that's funny, that's so cool. The liberals that hated Trump thought, oh, that's really cool. So you don't know what you're going to get into the brain of these people. I have two mannequins in my office, and I'm not finished doing it yet.
I like the one in your bathroom.
Yeah, my big boob girl. She's a good girl. So I've got two mannequins in my office, and one's a male and one's a female. I don't give a shit. I could tell. It's all good. So I'm thinking, you know what? I kind of want to, and they're right in my front window. So my studio is on the bottom floor, and you can actually see it from the streets. People can come in or whatever. So I'm just kind of doing like a little middle finger at all this pronoun bullshit, right? So I painted the boy blue and the girl pink. And so on their butts, which is facing the street, the blue one's going to have he, him, and the other one's going to have she, her, or whatever. However you do this, it's like, this is how stupid we've come into the society, that we're actually going to get mad at someone that puts up a mannequin that's blue and puts him on it. And you're going to get mad because you have a pink one. Well, pink is a non-description color. Boys can have pink. You're damn right. I love pink. Give me pink shoes. I'm totally cool with it. Give me pink. I don't give two fucks about that. I'm going to be me. You're going to be you. I'm not going to influence you to be like me. And you're not going to influence me. I mean, as you're younger, I think that was my problem. You're just trying to find your way, and you try and find a position in life.
Sure.
But now it's like I honestly care for very few people as far as an influence. That's it. If you like the train, I've got a ticket for you.
Was that something that shifted immediately? Like there was some sort of tower moment for you and you're like, oh, this is a new thing for me? Or was it a gradual slope where you realized, oh, I all of a sudden don't care?
Wow. Yes and no, and both.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
It doesn't, but that's fine.
Here's the thing is, I always wanted to be that. I always wanted to. I have a lot of confidence in my business savvy and in doing that. I've built up confidence in my art. I've built that up.
Yeah. But
that one thing where you just want to do what you want to do and feel comfortable. It's like I did an ayahuasca journey. I mean, plain and simple. I learned a lot in that, and it was more on. The whole thing that I learned is I gotta love me, and I hated myself. I absolutely hated myself. I hated myself because I was a shitty dad. I hated myself because I had a heroin addict kid. I hated myself because I couldn't save my wife from her business. I couldn't do a lot of things accomplishments, yeah, but a lot of things that I didn't regret it, but I was not comfortable with that. And and people learn different things on their journeys and stuff like that. But my thing is you gotta love. You got to love yourself. You love a lot of people. But just think about this. It's like, love your neighbor as yourself. Well, it's like, if you don't love yourself, how on God's green earth are you going to show any towards love? And from that, my love for my wife has gotten hugely deeper, which is crazy. Like, because me and my wife were inseparable. I love that chick to the heavens come home. I love her deeply. But when I started to love myself, which was, as a man, it's kind of weird that and I don't want to use weird. It's interesting when you go past what society thinks the quote unquote love. I love Snickers bars. I love hot chocolate. I love that camera. It's like people love a lot of things, but when you go really down into it, I mean, my wife helped me a ton with that because she would make me say 3 things I loved about myself before I got out of bed. She helped me a ton. She helped me a ton with that. And it was very hard for me because of so many years that I just put myself down and I was never attainable enough what I wanted to do. Right. I never thought that I reached the goals that I wanted, surpassing them when I put them on paper, far surpassing them. But when you get right down to it, it's like, I truly didn't love myself at all. I couldn't stand myself. But you wouldn't have been able to tell that. I mean, it was because
there's
that's
a
who
lot
it was.
of people that don't love themselves.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As a man, and my wife, literally, she would lay on me and say, "No, I want you to say 3 things that you love about yourself," because she loves me the way I am. I mean, no matter what, and she sees all these qualities. Our partners see all these qualities, and your downfalls too. I mean, you live with them, and you sleep with them, exchange bodily fluids. They're going to know everything about you. But she would literally, and there was mornings that it was half hour. I'd lay in bed. I couldn't think of one fucking thing I liked about myself. Not only liked, but loved about myself.
Wow.
So I think that was the big turning point when the aha moment where it was just like, I am.
You had to reinforce it?
I had to what's that?
So the love, the acknowledgement of the good about you, you continually had to reinforce it.
Oh, I still do to this day.
Okay.
I still do. Because it's like you get caught up in your brain. It's like, why is it? What is this? No, man, you're good. You're good enough. You're cool. You're a decent guy. Other people see it in you, and this isn't to pump me up at all. I'm just saying other people say things, but you know how people compliment you or something. It's just like I could never accept a compliment. Even to this day, like Ann will say, "Oh, you look nice today, honey." It's like, just wearing a pair of jeans and shit. It's like, but no, she sees me differently, so I'm having to see myself differently. Which when I see myself differently, I'm bringing myself to a whole different level and that's why it's really interesting for me now is for people saying, I see how far you've come, because it's like, you may think you've seen how far I've come, which is cool, which is an outward appearance of where I've come from. But inwardly, it's like, I like myself. I think this is cool. And I'm rewarding myself with things. Whereas before it would just be a goal. Now it's like I'm rewarding it.
I wonder if that's like a chicken or the egg type thing, because kind of going back to these ideas of lists and experiences that you'd want to have if there was a lot of people don't allow themselves to dream in that way. Like, if I could have exactly the things that I want, what would they be? If I could have the experiences that would really light me up, what would those be? When it comes down to receiving them, you won't allow yourself to receive them if you don't feel like you're worth it.
Exactly.
And so that presents an interesting opportunity then. Because if you're going through the work to see that, there's going to be naturally, like I remember when I first started doing that list, the list of 100, right?
I remember you showed it to me on your phone one night. I mean, I didn't read it, but you showed me. I've got this list.
It was, this thing happened. I got stuck around 30. And I started judging the things that I thought I wanted. Because I would be like, dude, it'd be cool to have a G5, a $80 million private plane. And I'd be like, I'd go to put it on the list and like, well, why do I need that? Like, and then I start thinking about all the other shit. Like, how much it costs to run one of those things? And you got all these fees and you got to, like, I'm talking myself out of it. Mm-hmm. And the gentleman that runs the program that encouraged us to do this told us that would happen. He's like, dude, that's a part of it. Because that middle part where you're trying to mind fuck yourself out of it is where the work is. Mm-hmm. Because you then have to then stop and go, okay, so I acknowledge this moment. So what?
Now what?
And now what?
Yeah.
So it's okay. So then allowing yourself to dream. And there was something interesting that he talked about. And I love this sort of topic because it's so curious to me. He talks about how our subconscious mind and our conscious mind are the crew, the captain and the crew. The captain is our conscious mind. We can choose to say whatever we want to say in the moment. We can say we want things. We can command whatever we want of ourselves. But the subconscious mind has to be on board for it to happen. And the subconscious mind listens to the captain. So if the captain is in a consistent format of not keeping his word, of being a liar, of being out of alignment, of keeping himself in places where it's not the best move, but he's there out of fear or obligation, the crew then, when that's a subconscious mind, when the captain's like, no, I'm in, let's fucking go. Like, I want to build this business. I want to do this thing. The crew will have a mutiny. They will not. They will like
hold on,
you big ass, you liar, you piece of shit. You don't actually want this, right? So that work of like talking myself out of wanting the G5, like that's the inconsistency between the subconscious and the conscious mind. And so I was encouraged during that time to like be like, well, when you recognize that, acknowledge it, and say, okay, well, thank you. Like, thank your subconscious mind for that, and then push on further.
Yeah.
And another thing that was a part of this is he said that, look at your list as like a 90-year list, because this interesting thing happens. If you say, for example, if you have a goal and you want it to be in a year, you put all this pressure on it being a year. And if you meet the goal in a year and 3 months, technically it's a failure. Even if the goal was some monstrously monumental goal, you still didn't hit it in a year, okay? So there's a different dynamic there. It's like, well, did I hit it? Did I not hit it? I still got the achievement. Whatever. When you expound it out longer, the subconscious mind in conjunction with your choices and your actions can facilitate quicker things. And so it ends up happening, like amazing things can happen super quick.
Yeah.
One of the guests I've had on this show, Brady Edwards, he used to be the main video guy for Mr. Beast, one of the biggest YouTubers on the planet. He's got like 100 million subscribers. He's his main video guy. And he won a house. Like, he had this, he wrote down on his list that he wanted a new house, and it had all these like details of what the house was. He won a house. He was a part of this thing with Mr. Beast, and the details are irrelevant, but he ended up winning a house. And he tells that story. He's like, yeah, man, like to listen to the level of clarity on how he talks about this stuff, it's really beautiful. The whole point of all this is to say that we have a constant invitation to receive. To receive love, to receive light, to receive abundance, to allow into our world more. And the only reason we don't, or that we wouldn't, is if we don't think we're worth it, or that we couldn't handle it, which is just a big ruse. It's a lie.
And I think once you accomplish those things that you set out to do, and I was going to say like the Porsche that I did and stepping off stage, once you do that, your subconscious and everything else, it just propels you into the next step. Things just go crazy from that point, because I don't know if I have a close, I don't know what it is, but I'm like, I hear like I get direction, and I'm not a whoopie doopie. I'm not a witch of all that warlock bullshit and all that other stuff.
Warlock.
I'm not any of that stuff. But like,
Scott, I have a message for
I have
you.
a plan for you. But legitimately,
Use pink on this painting.
yeah, legitimately, I drove off of the Porsche dealership, and I'm getting onto the freeway right there at Traverse Mountain.
Yeah.
I'm jumping onto the freeway, and audibly came to me and said, "You had to get this to move forward."
Yeah, 100%.
and it was, and again, I was, we limit ourselves on what we can do. I believe that now more than anything. I mean, my goal this year is to make $1 million.
Dude, imagine how fucked you'd be if you would have had the opportunity to get that car, everything was lined up, and you said no.
Here, expanding on the story, before I got on stage the day before, the Porsche dealership called me and said, "We've got your car in. We have one that came in." I'm like, I'm at this event. I can't really leave. I go, "I'll come in on Monday. If it's available, I'll still buy it." He goes, "Well, I'm not going to keep it." I said, "I'm not going to ask you to keep it, right?" So I texted him, and he goes, "Yeah, we sold that one." I'm like, fuck. So
Who's your sales guy there?
Sean.
Okay. Sonny Couverette is the general manager over there, and he's a guy that I helped start their podcast.
I'll tell you what, anyone that I've ever talked to about over there, they say they love everyone over there, which is great. So I'm getting back to it. So I get off the stage, and that was my moment where I said, "This is bullshit. I just told these people, eliminate all this stuff." So I texted him, right? Literally, if you get a picture, because they got a picture of me, I'm texting backstage, like, "Is that Porsche still available? Because I'm coming down to get it. Fuck all this stuff. I'm done." And so he got back to me because, "Yeah, no, it's been sold." So Monday comes, right? And Tuesday morning I wake up, and I'm like, "God dang it." Ann wants me to take her to the nursery to go get some plants. And we're driving down the street. I go, fuck this. I jump on the freeway and I make a left. And she goes, where are you going? I said, I don't know. We're just going to go for a drive. So we went for a drive. We went down to the Porsche dealership. We get off on Traverse Mountain. We jump in there. I see 3 white fucking Porsches there. That was one of my things. I wanted white. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I drove. She goes, you going to the Porsche? I'm like, yeah. She goes, you going to buy a Porsche? I said, yes, I am. She goes, okay, cool. She goes, because this morning, she goes, I had a dream last night that you were buying a Porsche. I'm like, are you serious? I mean, and I know this sounds, I mean, when I was younger and I heard this stuff, people like going, yeah, they're just stroking me off and everything. I swear to God that this is exactly what happened. And we didn't even talk about it. Like, I didn't know that she had this dream. She didn't know I was going to the Porsche dealership. Nothing. We pull in there, there's 3 white ones. I'm like, holy shit. So I'm like, I thought you told me that it was done. So we walk up to him and, well, one of them was a Ferrari and it was a 488 Ferrari. And I just didn't want a Ferrari. No, they're great. They're beautiful. And there's 2, so there's 2 left up there, and one was a convertible, and one was the hardtop. And I'm looking at it, and I wanted the hardtop, and there's a sold sign out. So this convertible sitting there, it's brand new, 21. I'm like, God dang it, I wish this thing had a hardtop, you know. And he goes, have you ever driven a convertible? I'm like, nah. I go, I'm pretty much set on what I want. And he knew, and he's been looking for a little while. So he goes, just drive it just so you could say you've driven one. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Put the top down and fucking sold. I'm like, I am.
Isn't it?
Oh my
isn't it
gosh.
boss to have a convertible, dude?
I was not a convertible dude, but boy, I'll tell you what, I am fucking convertible.
Was that your first convertible ever?
Yeah, ever.
Oh, dude.
Ever.
You will, if you don't have one, you will want to get another one.
100%.
I had my first convertible in 08. I had a convertible M6, and my California that I have now is a convertible.
Yeah.
And it's nothing like it.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I mean, these are just the little things that, you know, it's almost life hacks. It's like, be in tune, listen, follow through, go do it. It's like, just say yes. I've done a bunch of posts on this. Just say yes. It's like the simplest of, you know, people think that you have to do a lot of different things to change. It's like, it's just simple twitches, like little simple. I just say yes.
Yeah.
You called me. Yeah. As long as my schedule is open, I just say yes. What's going to go wrong with that? I mean, it's just,
I mean, he's not going to say yes to everybody, so don't think.
Not everybody, but
no, dude, but what you're saying though, like it's so funny. The car thing is a very real thing, but there's an unspoken part of that we don't realize. When we're talking about Porsches or Ferraris or Lamborghinis, like it's more luxurious, it's more ostentatious, right? It's a bigger thing. It's more elusive. It's more exclusive.
The audacity for you to buy a nice car.
No, not so much like that, but like they're harder to find and they cost more. Okay, so like just to go, it's not like you're going down to buy a fucking Toyota.
Yeah.
You know, you're buying a high-end luxury sports car, right? But here's the crazy part: is that levels are real. So the experience of that level, if you really analyze it, is the same when you bought your first Duramax, or the same when you like it's like there was an uncertainty. I got to pull the trigger.
Right.
Oh, the cost is this. Like, and then there's the after the facts, and I've been noticing this now because I've had my Ferrari since October, right? Once you go through that whole experience, because I had the same thing. Like I had I didn't think I was going to be able to buy that thing.
Right.
Because I had a personal bankruptcy years ago. I've been rebuilding my personal credit, not realizing that I've had for 12 years a business that has had revenue in it, and that automotive luxury leasing companies, they're like, oh, you have money?
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what your credit score is,
Exactly.
bro. You can pay your bill. So like I went into this whole situation flabbergasted that it could work. They gave me a scenario that on paper, nothing about it I couldn't commit to.
Yeah.
Even with the idea of like it being in perpetuity, like I was going to have these payments and things, right? I'm like, oh, wow. So like that, I had to make a decision at that point. Okay, well, and it was like, once I got it, everything changed for me. Everything changed. But here's the crazy part. Once you have it, you have it.
Yeah.
And it becomes just a car.
I was gonna say it's amazing.
Car.
It's amazing. It is.
Dude, I have a crack on my windshield now, and I'm fucking pissed about it. I'm like, God damn it, I gotta call satellite. Like my Ferrari's got a dent in the front.
Did you? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Did you have like regret after you bought it?
No,
you didn't.
Not on my G-Wagon. I did.
You did. So because here's what happened to me is I got it and the other thing is too is like I stopped pushing and pulling. I will stop pushing a deal to go through, and I'll stop pulling people along with me. I don't care. Stop doing that stuff. So I wake up the next day, and I'm like, so we're taking a drive. I'm like, oh fuck, man. And I'll just go back to this real easy. It's like I also believe that if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. We walked into the dealership. I took a test drive. I said, "What are the numbers?" He
works,
showed me.
yep.
He showed me the numbers. He goes, "Are you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." I go, "I'm going to go grab a bite to eat." Got some lunch. Came back, sat down. Legitimately, sat down at the table, and signed the paperwork. And we're signing it, and he goes, "How much were you going to put down?" So I told him, and he goes, "Well, I got you at $0 down." I go, "What does that change on the payment?" And their money was cheap, so it's like, I'm going to use your money, not mine.
Yeah.
Like legitimately, exact same payment. Handed the keys, less than 20 minutes. People don't understand. It's like when you get to that, and I'm not saying that level because I'm not in any level. When you get into that area or that arena, it's a whole different ball field. It's a whole different ball field. I went in with the.
It is, but it's not. It's the same.
I went in with jeans like this and a Dudley Do-Right shirt. It's like, and the guy treated me just like, no, I'm like, that's what I appreciate that. It's like, I don't think of myself anything else.
The lesson for me, and it sounds like this might have been there for you. The lesson for me was just to stop questioning what my next level could be.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think that I would get to that level as quickly as I did.
Yeah.
And then when I got there, I was like, oh, that was easier than I thought. Like looking back in retrospect, it's like that was, wow. And it happened again because I bought my wife the Mercedes. Again, that to me was a bigger deal than the Ferrari. Like it was more money than the Ferrari. It was
because you already been there before.
I'd already been there, the whole thing. But I understood this concept that was taught to me that's very, very real about goals. You have to create an associative and a dissociative experience for yourself to have like the energetic magnetism towards the goal. And what I mean by that, so when we went in there, like it's kind of funny. I used to not like G-Wagons. I was like, these boxy house-looking pieces of shit until I rode in one. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, this is the nicest car on the road. Like, I would rather have a G-Wagon over a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. I'd rather have it over a Urus. Like, bro.
Yeah.
So there's one. It's white. It's got the red leather. They're installing the Starry Night in the liner. It's like, oh, this is my car. So I tell them, I need to drive it. I didn't drive my California before I bought it.
Really?
I just bought it.
Right.
I'd driven a California before. I mean, not one that was all modded up and everything like mine was, but that's talking about cars, guys.
Side note.
Jesus.
I know.
These fucking pricks in their cars. Anyway.
Bunch of pompous assholes.
Anyway, but no. Listen to this part right here, okay? Because if you want to achieve something, this is a very real thing that you can incorporate that will not fail you, okay? You have to create an associated and a dissociated experience for yourself. So I told the guy, I'm like, I need to drive this car. Me and Amy need to go for a drive. He's like, no problem, bro. Pulls the car around. And, G-Wagons are still going way over sticker, right?
Every luxury car is going over sticker.
But, I mean, G-Wagon, dude, there was a time where G-Wagons were like, 80% over sticker. It was ridiculous.
I've been in the market. I understand.
170 for brand new, and they're offering 310. Like, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even have to pay remotely close to that. But my point is he pulls it out. Amy and I go for a ride. We're playing with the buttons. We're feeling the seats. Like they have these things that like squeeze you when you turn in the seat. I'm gripping the leather. I'm creating a first person experience of I know what this car feels like.
Right.
I know what it smells like. I know what it sounds like. I am in this experience, right? So then we go, and I take some video of the car, right? And I'm looking around, and I've got this thing, and again, I didn't know if I was going to be able to get it. Right. I legitimately didn't know. I was like, it'll probably work out. I hope. I don't know. Because, they wanted a massive amount of money down, and I wasn't comfortable with it. I mean, even though I could afford it, I wasn't comfortable with all that money down, especially wrapped up in a car.
Right.
And so that was on day 2 of the event, and we were there for another 4 days, right? So we're going through everything, and I'm remembering the first person associated experience. I'm associated in the moment with this vehicle. First person. I'm gripping the wheel. I'm smelling it.
You're in it.
I'm in it. Like, not just
no, you're living it.
I'm in it. Like, I'm in the car. I'm driving it. I get back. We're at our hotel. We're chilling out. We're kind of reviewing things for the day or whatever. And I'm looking at this video. I'm watching a video in a dissociated state. It's a third person event where I'm looking at this thing and I'm watching it that way. And I'm connecting these two experiences in my mind. And it settled in that moment. I'm like, oh, I will have this car.
Yeah.
Now here's what got crazy, right? So there were some things that had been happening. I was in the process at that point of taking on some new partners in my business. There were some things I wasn't certain about. And I kind of pumped the brakes a little bit when we got home on buying the car. They had on the showroom there, It was a lot less expensive. It was a brand new M8 competition, a BMW M8. I'm a BMW guy. Our G-Wagon's our first Mercedes I've ever owned. Will not be the last, by the way. They're freaking boss. But the M8, I was like, I'll do that one. So he starts running numbers on this car for me, right? And he's coming back to me with down and payments. I'm like, this is way too fucking much money for a M8. Like, I realize this is a fantastic car, but in my mind, it's like, that's not worth that. Like, I would pay that for a Lambo or a Ferrari or a G-Wagon. And I get on the phone with the sales manager. I'm about ready to kill the whole deal. I'm like, I don't want to. I'm going to put my money into something else. I'm going to do that. Like, He's like, well, what can we do here? How much could you do? Whatever is this? And I go, you know what? This is about the car. I didn't even want this car. I want the wagon. He's like, well, why didn't you tell me that? I go, why? I don't know. He's like, well, let me look at the wagon. So he runs a bunch of numbers, calls me back in 20 minutes, and he presented to me a deal that was easy peasy for me to pull off for the wagon.
Yeah. It happens.
Shit. What the fuck? And I'm like, and I start kind of thinking about it. I'm like, what did I do to slow that process up by my changing of course to look at that other car as a way to settle?
Right.
And how often do we do that for ourselves? It's like, we know what we want. We can go get it.
100%.
And this isn't even about money. This is about life or relationships or your body or the way you feel. Like, you can just go get it. Just go fucking get it.
It's all available.
It's all there.
You know, it's like I like this analogy, and I don't remember where I heard it from, but it's like money, because you say it's not about money. Let's just use money for a simple fact. You know, there's enough money for everybody.
Yeah.
Here's the example he gave. He's like, if we both walk outside and take in the sun, who's going to get more? Get more naked, you can get more. I mean, it's like it's plentiful out there.
Me, because I don't have hair on my head. So.
Well, yeah, no, but I mean, money is plentiful. You don't just because I drive this car and you drive that car doesn't mean that I have more money than you. It's like, if I want more, I can go get more. If you're sitting in a Pinto or a Toyota Camry and that you're pissed off about, just go make more money. And people are going to get all pissed off about that. It's like, you all have the same opportunity that I do. It doesn't matter who you are. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And I was going to go back to having regret. I did. I regretted it. And I don't want to say regret because we talked about that before, but I had trepidation. I'm like, oh shit.
A little buyer's remorse.
Kind of buyer's like, what the fuck did I just do?
Yeah, like, oh shit.
I'm like, well,
It's
number
real
one,
now?
I
It's
didn't
real?
take a penny out of my bank. I didn't do anything except for take the keys off and drove it off the lot. I mean, I'm like, why am I really worried about this? And I'm like, going, wow, but then the payment is this, and I'm going on. I'm like, well, I'm figuring out. It's like, and I just go, just stop, Scott, just stop. And the phone rang. $65,000 commission. It's like, why, and I think that if I didn't say stop, Scott, I would have gone down that rabbit hole of like, oh shit, now I'm going to have to figure this out. I'm going to have to push this job over here. It's like, just let it go. Just everything is going to come. It's like, you had this audible, you had to do this to move to the next level. So why am I questioning that?
It's really peculiar to me too, how a lot of these life lessons do come at the hands of material items.
What's tangible? It's something we can see.
Yeah, it's something that like it's a material, movable, tangible thing.
Yeah. That
can all of a sudden now be in your world. And the transition of it in this other world that's not yours, and then to be in your space, there's a lot of things that have to shift in that to make it happen.
Funny story on driving it. I was at the gas station filling it up one day, and I've got the top down. Me and Ann are out for lunch. I got the top down. This Volkswagen, newer one, 2000, whatever, and it was a convertible. His top was down. It's kind of like this yellow shit baby yellow color. He's an older guy. He's older than me. And he goes, dang, I really like your car. You got my dream car there. I said, man, they got him at the dealership. You can go get him. He goes, nah. He goes, I like my payment better than yours. I said, I like my car better than yours. I go, that don't matter. It's all your mindset, bro.
Yeah.
You're same thing. It's like you're settling for what this, but you can, and it's only because it's monetary. It's like you think, oh, you're just being an asshole because you make money. No, everyone's an asshole. Everyone can make money. It's all good. Don't limit yourself on that. Just either work harder or figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Eliminate the comma but. Go make it happen.
Eliminate the comma but.
Yeah.
Like
that's my big one. I've really been focusing on that. It's like if you a goal, you hate your job, you want to sell more art, you want to do more stand-up comedy, you want to be a better salesman. It's like, just why aren't you? because you put a comma but, because you always explain it afterwards. It's like, I would be a great salesman, comma, but something else is like, well, fuck that.
Yeah.
Eliminate it.
Well, that's on the same tree of being a slave to your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
When you won't allow yourself to shift out of emotion. I don't know if that makes sense, but I can see it in my mind how I'm trying to describe it. It's like the comma but thing. It's just as real in empowering you towards what you want as is taking ownership of your emotions.
Okay.
Because they're a part of the same thing. Like the comma but thing is rooted in an emotion of lack. And so you verbally have to describe the lack by saying comma but. And when you get rid of that, you get rid of it.
Yeah, because it doesn't
Stuff meaning stuff shows up.
and there's then what's the limitation then? It's like that's your
Still is
excuse.
you.
That's your excuse why you always do the comma but, because that's your excuse.
Well, there's also like we talk about limiting beliefs and we talk about the way that we think and programming and there's our lives are full of different programs that are running through our minds and in our emotions and things that cause us where the word trigger, something happens that triggers a response in you that's an emotional thing or whatever. My wife said something that reminds me of something that happened here. Next thing you know, I'm pissed or whatever. Fucking forgot again.
Hiccup.
Dude. I've had this happen twice on the show. It doesn't matter.
You're good.
My point of all that was that there's we're a bunch of programs. Our behaviors are a bunch of programs. And when we can learn to remove certain programs, we learn that just like it's not black and white. It's like you can have a limiting mindset about money and then overcome that mindset at a certain level. Like you can go from making 50 grand a year to making 250 grand a year. But at 250 grand a year, you still have a mindset about money. Right. And you might actually still have to overcome a limiting belief from go to 250 grand a year to 2.5 million a year.
It's allowing yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
there's still like, and that, I guess that's the whole point. New levels, new devils is a very real thing, man. Like everything about our experience at this level will translate in some way to the next level. It'll just show up a little bit different.
Yeah.
We'll still have fears. We'll still have self-sabotaging behaviors and thoughts. We'll still have issues when it comes to how we choose to show up or whatever.
Your Ferrari window shield will still get chipped.
God damn it.
I mean,
yes.
and then legitimate. Like we're talking about
dude,
cars.
The G-Wagon's got a chip in it too.
Yeah, well.
They're cars. Like you drive them,
exactly.
you use them, they get beat up. Like it's not some thing I'm putting on a shelf,
Right. Yeah. They still need gas. They still need all that other shit.
Yeah.
We went down the car little.
I love cars, man. Like to me, cars are a simple way to level up how you feel about yourself, man. Go buy the car. I don't give a shit, dude. Like just go buy the car. It'll change the game for you.
Yeah, like I told the guy, I said, they got plenty of these at the dealership. Just go buy one.
You want the Civic R? Go buy the Civic R, man. You rolling around in that Vegeta? Like just change up your Vegeta and go into the whatever. Just go next level. Get to the next one. It will change your mindset and shift, and you will start to feel normal in that next level. And then you'll start to look at things like, oh, well, I want the next level, and I want the next level. Mm-hmm. And it's not a thing about being unsatisfied. It's a thing of growth. Ed Milet has that beautiful term where he says, be blissfully dissatisfied. Yeah. You're happy in the moment. You're grateful for the now. But I want more, man.
I want more. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah. I'm satisfied, but I want more.
Yeah, blissfully dissatisfied. Mm-hmm. Well, should we transition into our current events?
Current events? Oh,
yeah,
is this how you do
Producer
this?
B over here is going to give us some current events, and
oh, geez,
we get to talk some shit about because it's supposed to be a funny podcast. We went down the,
I know.
Only thing funny about this thing is how bald I am compared to that mane of yours, bro.
Funny, yeah. We got serious. Didn't even talk about anything.
Not a single dude. We were going to start the thing off talking about eating pussy, and it didn't even get to.
God,
that.
I know. We went there, and then. Boring
By the
marriage.
way, just as a reminder, like saliva actually accentuates pussy juice to make it more lubricatable or whatever.
I like to
spit on the tip, bro.
No, I just like to self-applicate it.
Like just little munchy. All right, well,
I don't spit on my tip. It's not my job.
You spit on that.
Go on.
I can't look at your wife the same, dude.
She's pretty good.
Oh my god.
I don't know how. Okay.
36 years. Go.
A man used both his hands to smash 148 coconuts in a minute. I don't know how that translates from eating pussy, but that's...
So hold on. So a dude, 148 coconuts in a minute?
148 coconuts in a minute, alternating hands, Guinness World Record.
Is his name Donkey Kong? Like, what the fuck, man?
Dude ain't touching my dick.
Muhammad... I don't know how to say his last name. Kahrimanovic.
Make sure you spell that
So
out.
let me ask this. So he did 148, you say? And how long?
1 minute.
Okay, so that's
What the
73 and a half. No, 74. So, dude, there
Do
had
that
to be...
again and get that on film. There you go. That looks good.
So there had to be...
Karate chop style.
So he just like walk through the... Okay.
So do you train yourself? Oh, he's not
That's
even,
the guy?
That's the guy.
That dude changed his name. That's a white dude. That's a bald
Yeah,
white
there's
dude.
no way that's Muhammad anything,
No, that's
dude.
not Muhammad. He changed. Look at that shit. Why?
One-handed, too, dude. He's just going to town. Okay.
But why?
Same
Yeah.
reason why Joey Chestnut eats so many hot dogs. on the
Yeah,
4th of
I
July.
guess. I just don't have time for that
Okay,
shit.
so I want to know how they sold this idea for TV.
Okay,
Imagine this.
Okay,
Here we go. We're going to line
Are
up
you ready?
so many coconuts, and we're going to have this fucking white bread guy with the Muslim name go karate chop up.
That guy was. That's if that's the best we have for current events.
Comedy gold, Jerry. Oh, no, we got a bunch, man.
No,
we
I'm
stay
just
away,
saying.
stay away from politics, though, because
No, that's fine. I don't. Politics is stupid.
it's Hollywood for ugly people is what politics is.
So SpaceX whizzes past annual launch record for Starlink mission. So the previous record for most launches into space was 31, which was last year done by Elon Musk's company. And we are in the end of July, and they've already broken that with plans for more to send into space. So they are taking the NASA contracts and running with them.
Hell yeah, dude. I like that. So SpaceX is putting with Starlink, you say? So Starlink is basically mobile broadband internet, right?
Yeah, he's trying to be able to, you can be like RV or eventually on a ship or whatever it may be, have 5G wireless broadband wherever.
That's dope. Do you know that?
No.
So actually, I know that Elon did this as well when the whole thing in the Ukraine started. They were concerned about losing connectivity to the internet and what it could mean for communications. So Elon's like, I got you. And he went and put a Starlink bunch of stuff over Ukraine. So like they got mobile 5G.
It's
in
HughesNet
the
on
air.
steroids.
I'm just. It's
what?
what?
HughesNet on steroids, satellite internet, but actually works.
Yeah. So they did. So how many have they done so far?
31 so far, 31 launches.
In the middle of July.
Yes, with more to go this year.
We talked to Elon at the beginning of this, man. Like,
Yeah,
that
we were
guy's-
talking about.
He's
The
a-
dinosaurs are coming back. We're fucking gonna. This is all this shit. We're gonna be toasted here.
Dude, I actually
We're
I
done.
want to talk to you about this because this is interesting to me. So I was watching, Andrew Schultz is my dude. He's one of my favorite people, favorite comedians. He was on Rogan. He had a special that just released, and and Joe was talking about how aliens, we think they're real. You know, the government has said different things,
Go on.
whatever. But these caricatures of aliens are basically like the most beta, non-testosterone laden version of a humanoid possible.
Okay.
That there's a reason why the aliens don't want to fuck with us right now is because it's like they're looking at an anthill and we're the anthill. That they don't have, there's certain things they don't have. They don't have a dick. Like there's it's a very cuckified humanoid thing.
Dude, we can go down a rabbit hole here. I mean, because
Go ahead.
Okay. So, the giants. Do you believe in those giants?
Hell yeah, dude.
Okay. So, have you seen the shape of their skulls?
Well, they're just a
Very,
skull.
very alien-like skull.
Okay.
Very alien-like skull. Giants. Did you know that they found one in Ohio?
No.
Yeah, recently they found one in. Excuse me. They found one in Afghanistan. Back up. They found one in Afghanistan and they shipped it to Ohio and they're trying to clone it.
How big was it?
I don't know the exact thing, but if you read, so now we'll go down even a deeper hole. So the giants, if you follow biblically, the giants, that's the Satan. And again, my wife can go off on this because she fucking goes down these rabbit holes. So the giants are coming back to take over the world. That's what's supposed to happen. Then the great flood was here to drown out the giants, and that's all this.
That's what it was for, huh?
If you think about it, because the giants came, and again,
I thought it was
for all
God
you
was
people out
pissed
there that
for
know all
the
this shit, I'm not.
Bible, I thought it was from all the sinning. God was like,
If you look at it was to
God's
to
always
rid the
mad at
land,
the sinners.
to rid the land, and to get all this, and then we're not going to go all this stuff, but I'm like, I'm going down all these routes. You know what? The more I know, the less I know. And I say that, and it's like, you could tell me all this shit. And if I'm going to be one of these, I'm going to go all the way. Is the earth round or flat?
I think it's round.
According to, did we land on the moon?
Well, dude, see, that's fucking with me because I keep seeing this shit. Like, I saw a thing from some NASA guy saying, you know, well, we haven't gone back to the moon yet because we retired the technology and we don't have it anymore.
Really?
And I'm like, motherfucker, you have a supercomputer.
You just said SpaceX went up for 37 times in this month, and we've got now satellites that are going to do 5G that can do all this shit. You mean that and we've never been back to the moon again?
Right.
Why?
Well, there it is. It's like
because the technology's gone.
And I'm like, you got a fucking supercomputer in your goddamn pocket, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we can't figure that. We have self-driving cars. You can't figure out how to have a spaceship go onto a fucking moon.
Right. So again, I'm gonna go back to round or flat.
Dude, I'm not going Kyrie on this one, man, dude. Like,
I'm just saying. I'm just fast. Like I said, I'm going deeper into my.
This is funny.
The
what
more
you're
I
saying.
know, the less I know, and I'm loving this shit because now I'm questioning fucking everything.
Dude, I got into that. Like, there was an old business partner of mine that sent me all these YouTube videos about flat Earth stuff, and I found myself watching this shit, scratching my head, going, "What the fuck?"
Go. You want to see? Here's what kind of turned me over to the side. No, go on flight patterns. Go on commercial airline flight patterns. If you go to and again, I don't know exactly the route, but if you fly from LA to Australia, why do you go over fucking Antarctica? And I know that that's not the way you do it, but if you flatten it out, those are direct flights. The direct flights where you have to stop and fuel. Like, there's some weird shit on why you have to stop.
So isn't that because the curvature of the Earth, though? Is why?
Sure.
When you look at a map.
I'm just saying. And again, I'm going to get a whole bunch of shit because I didn't come here to talk about flat Earth and giants.
Do you believe in flat Earth?
If you put the Earth on the flat system of like the 1600 map or whatever it was, it goes like, there's reasons why don't we just stop at a certain spot rather than having to go stop in Ohio to fucking get to Sydney, Australia. It's like it makes no sense. Anyway. Now I'm going to sound like a fucking idiot, but I don't care. I think the more I know.
What about transatlantic stuff where it's like, because you can fly around the world. You can fly from LA to Australia to Indonesia.
We never go over Antarctica. Why? If you're going to go around the world, why do you not just
jump over the top? Are you sure we don't?
We can't. There's no one's allowed on it in Antarctica.
Isn't that where all the alien technology is, though?
Well, supposedly the ice wall. Supposedly the ice wall's there. I mean, I get.
I get.
I'm
that's
totally full.
That's
Wait. What I heard recently.
Where the White Walkers are.
Yeah, there was. They said that they've found trees in biblical times in Antarctica that they have found. So there's a bunch of shit up there that we're not supposed to know about.
Yeah, but there's also like Mormons that say that the Garden of Eden is legitimately in Missouri.
Okay, well, that's
Adamon-Diamond is the name of the place, is what they call it. So maybe if we could get all these bullshitters together, we could at least find some common ground.
I'm gonna wear my tin hat.
Who knows where the Earth was in Pangea and stuff before then? It was Antarctica actually icy? Did it just freeze, preserve the trees down there as it rotated? Sun, when the meteor hit us, did it change the tilt of the Earth?
Right.
Dude, you know what? That's a great point, but I just don't give a fuck. I just want to know when Bitcoin's gonna go back up.
I'm with you, but I just, again, like I say, I'm just getting blown away with all this shit that it's like,
Dude,
we've been programmed so much about a bullshit of what we have to do and what we're programmed to do. And you have to eat your sandwich this way, and you have to do this, and you have to move. It's like, and we landed on the moon, and John Kennedy got shot by one person, and it's like, what the fuck? No one's telling me the truth about anything. So you know what? Unless I see it, fuck you.
That's fair, dude.
That's
totally
it. Fair. That's where I'm going with it. If you're going to tell me that the Earth is round, I'm going to say, cool. Why isn't it flat? And if you're going to tell me the Earth is flat, I'm going to say, why isn't it fucking round? Nobody knows any of this shit. I mean,
think you should commission a piece for draw like the flat Earth.
I could do that
with a fucking dome. It looks like a fucking It looks like a titty. It's like a flat with.
Well, here's the other thing. It's like I don't even want to go down this hole. Never mind. We're good.
What else you got, B?
Hold on. Sorry, I was Googling how to mathematically prove that the Earth is round, but
that's okay.
Isn't it like the whole pi, like 3.14 is the
when you've gone up into a plane at 30,000 feet, have you seen the curvature of the Earth?
Yeah.
Oh, the first one I've heard.
If you look, like you can see it.
Okay.
It's like subtle for sure, but it's.
Okay.
And I also read somewhere, I don't know how to prove this, because that on flat ground you can only see 8 miles because of the curvature of the Earth.
That will go on YouTube because they've got guys with telescopes that they do on the flat Earth that goes across.
Dude, you
a
went down
bay.
the hole, didn't you?
Oh, I've been down some fucking crazy.
Dude, your
holes
algorithm on
lately.
YouTube must be bananas.
Oh, it must be really crazy. Between all the porn and all that.
Oh my God.
No, I'm just kidding.
Flat Earth porn, dude.
Flat Earth porn. No. I just think I'm really just not. I don't believe anything anymore. I just don't. There's no reason to.
That's fair.
Anywho, so
Okay, sorry.
As being an artist, a painting bought from a Texas thrift store for $125 turns out to be a Keith Bankston original, which was a artist based in Georgia of Eve in the Garden, and it was donated to a museum in Georgia, and they're trying to appraise the worth, but they're thinking it's going to be a 5-figure painting that was just just at a thrift store in Texas.
So what is so you have 5-figure paintings. So what does that just mean? Because if it was bought for $1.25, some artist, it's worth 5 figures. What does that mean?
I mean, what in tens of thousands is what I'm thinking
Well,
about.
I know what 5 figures
Okay.
means. I mean, like, how do you arrive at that? Like, what makes a painting 5 figures? Just a choice to buy it? Like,
Well, something's only worth what someone's willing to pay. I mean, plain and simple. If they were selling Ferraris at $1, there'd be a lot of people buying Ferraris and Porsches at $1. I mean, it's like
there'd
but
be a
we're
lot of
willing.
resale them for
Yeah, no shit.
more after that.
What makes it valuable? That's art is so weird. I mean, there's the guy from oh gosh, he's a drummer for one of the bands, big band, and he started doing art. And he's selling art for $3 and $4, $5, $8 million. It's like the guy
Well,
just
Hunter Biden had a $500,000 painting.
yeah. I mean, the guy, it just I don't know. Art is all. The art world is very interesting.
You're bringing up an interesting point because, like, you've truly had to create a market. You've had to create a pricing structure for what people buy your shit for,
right?
And you've had to quell, like, because your stuff is so good. Like, there's not like people are going to undercut it or dump it because it's stupid to dump a Scott Travis painting.
No one's going to value you more than you value yourself, and I said that before. And I value myself at an X number on my art, my time, my thought process, and what I've gone through to do it. So again, I don't. If you can't afford my art, that's totally fine. I don't think anything different of it, but it's just my value that I put on it. And again, I am that value because people are paying for it. So again, if you mix the two, what I feel I'm valued at and what people are willing to pay, then I'm in conjunction and I'm on the right track. Again, I've got it's almost a business. That this is what the thing is people don't think on the business. The artists don't think about it. It's like if you've got more work than you know what to do with, you're too cheap. If you don't have anybody that's buying your stuff, you're too high. I mean, that's just simple market economics right there, guys. That's stupid. It's like, come on. The more work I get, obviously my value goes up because now I'm only one person. I'm not going to be able to hire someone. I'm not going to be able to hire an employee to do what I'm doing. Right. So my value goes up.
I like it.
I have a question for you as an artist. Now that you've transitioned from even with pools in its artistic way to doing art now, can you just tell with whatever the median is with art, let's say if it's television or movies, who actually cares and puts effort into things and who's just pumping things out for money?
Well, that would go to my personal preference and your personal preference, because I may not like a movie that gets a 5-star review, and I may like a movie that gets a 1-star review, and you think it's dog shit. So I think it's all personal preference. And again, like I said, there's going to be half the people that like my stuff and half the people that don't. I'm fine with that. I appreciate that. There's artists out there that I think is dog shit that make a fuck ton more money than I do, but that doesn't mean that their work is any less than mine. And in my mind, a lot of artists do. It's like, oh well, he's been at it for so long, and he makes so much money, or he doesn't deserve that. He's only been doing it for a year. It's like, why? Why doesn't he deserve it? That's the way I think about it. So I think it's all, I think it's all individual. I'm not gonna discount someone that thinks that the Earth is flat and I think it's round, or vice versa. I mean, again, it's like
there it is again, bro. Bringing it up.
No, again, it's like it's okay. I mean, if I find value in it, then I'm gonna buy it, and I want to do that. My big thing right now for young artists and people, I just want to encourage them because I think because I think it's going to be lost. I really do.
Right.
So anyway, sorry. There you go.
So that's it, buddy.
That's it. We're done.
It.
Wow.
So and we could go for longer, but I think
that's all
that's
right.
a good place
No,
to
it's
stop.
cool.
I appreciate you coming out, man.
Thanks for having me.
What would be the best way to encourage people to go see your stuff that don't know about you?
I'm in 2 galleries. One's in Las Vegas, Conrad West Gallery, and the other one is in Hawaii on Kauai. But most of my stuff, I do a lot of my stuff on Instagram. I am Scott Travis.
Okay.
That's the best way to see my most current stuff. I usually list everything on there. I've got a website, Scott Travis Art, but it's not. I don't keep up to date. I've just been too busy.
Okay. Well, we'll put that tag in the show notes so people can click on that.
Appreciate it.
He's a great follow. You got a lot of stuff going on outside of your art. You've got your podcast. You've got your stuff you're doing with your wife, the Resolutions Coaching Program, which you're helping married couples, which I think is a great thing.
Yeah.
We didn't even touch on that. Maybe we can have you come back. We'll talk about that.
Yeah. That's what we're really excited about right now.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that need that. It seems like there's a lot of weight in the married game right now.
Yeah.
That's
seems like a lot of our friends. I mean, a lot of our friends have gone through that recently, and we step back and we look at it, and it's like, man, this is just legitimately a 1 degree shift. It's not that hard.
Yeah. That's good to know.
It's not.
Anyway, buddy, appreciate you, man. That's it. Our stand up.
Thank you.